doubleheader on CN8, and Rutgers with a lead as we begin the second half of play. 20 minutes left to go. And Temple with the basketball to begin the second half. And right away from the outside, Robinson gave it a shot. And that's going to lead to a transition opportunity. Liacouras, a little showtime. The Rutgers lead now 8 points.
First basket of the game for Liacouras, coming off a 20-point performance against North Carolina, where he carried Rutgers through a stretch of the end of the first half into the second. Don't come any easier than that, huh?
Westby off the miss, and the foul call is going to be on the freshman Robinson going over the back. That'll be his first.
You see right here, both Hawkins and Robinson trying to get after the offensive rebound. That left Liacouras wide open at the other end. Terrific athlete.
Rutgers continuing strong play here in the early part of the season. Nice play to the inside by Shields as he got good body control, warded off the defender. He now has 5. And it's a double-digit lead for the Scarlet Knights.
And you got it, Scott, using his body to keep the defense away. Good finish around the basket. He's their leading scorer coming in, averaging over 14 a game in their first 2 contests.
And a throwaway on the inside for Westby. 9 Temple turnovers here in the ball game.
See right here, Shields got the ability to put the ball to the floor, keeps people honest with his outside shot. Good strong finish around the hoop.
Rutgers did not shoot it especially well in the first half, but taking smart shots here. Coleman off the miss, and a push off down low is going to get called against Wright. Well, Kareem Wright, who had foul trouble in the first half, picks up his 3rd here, the opening 90 seconds of the second half.
The 3 cheapies. He hasn't even gotten a chance to foul somebody on the defensive end. A loose ball foul, a post-up foul, now coming over the back. Gary Waters not happy about that.
Hawkins nowhere to go. Good defense from Sherrod. And he's in a lot of trouble. A 5-second violation. Temple cannot find any rhythm as Rutgers is playing strong, aggressive defense and disrupting him.
Gary Waters talked about it at halftime with Mick. That's what his team's all about, putting pressure on the basketball. Right here, Sherrod stays with him. Hawkins tried to get him up in the air and forced the foul, but Sherrod stayed under control, and then that ball pressure right there forces the 5-second call.
And now a whistle. The shot clock, I believe, was not moving as Rutgers was bringing the basketball up. You can see up on the top of your screen, it's still on 35. They're trying to make sure that the shot clock is operational to continue it. Officials seem happy that they've figured out the situation.
It's going to start anew.
Don't forget, tomorrow night, more basketball here on CN8. Live from the Palestra at 7, Drexel and Penn.
Penn coming off a big win against Penn State at home yesterday. Drexel came up short in their opener at Villanova.
Shields steps in, can't hit the shot. Oh, big rebound for Coleman. Great fight to keep it alive, and the foul call will go against Collins.
That's one of the things Gary Waters talked about. He said, you know, we're not very big and we're getting beat badly on the boards. If we're going to hang in there and become a decent rebounding team, we've got to get our guards to rebound the basketball. That's exactly what happens right here. Coleman gets himself involved, ends up picking up the foul.
So the Owls on the takeaway now come down in transition, down by 10. This is Collins. And on the runner, got the shot and the foul. The foul call is going to go against Collins, but the basket will count.
Well, he talked about his ability to find shots and get his own shot right there. He's got good size at 6'4". Floated a little bit. The defense steps under, but basket counts.
This is Oksani. Nice crossover dribble. But he found his way into big trouble.
That's where he's got to get himself inside and then just trail and stick it back to Coleman, who was wide open, filling in the space he just left.
Johnny, the left-hander, a little bit short with his baseline jumper, and he tapped it out. Well, it goes back over to the Owls.
Johnny nearly picked up an over-the-back call.
First game for these 3 Temple freshmen who are starting here today. First chance to see what it's really like under fire in game situations. Westby missed on the long-range jumper. Sherrod, good look inside for Oksana. Can't do anything against the 7-footer. And Rutgers has to pull it back out again. That's Coleman. No good, and Lamizana the rebound. 3 and 4 shots each time down. This time Oksana is going to get called for going over the back. His second, team 2.
The Rutgers getting a couple second shot opportunities. That was one right there. Easy miss inside by Lamizana, and then Oksana, who almost got the over-the-back call on the last possession, this time gets whistled for.
Temple having trouble finding a go-to scoring guy, and Hawkins travels with the basketball up by the elbow for the 11th Temple turnover.
And Sherrod's been bothering him, putting good pressure on the basketball. Sherrod, one of the best on-the-ball defenders in the Big East. Tough assignment against Hawkins with his size and strength.
You see the turnover numbers so far. Fairly even, but a high number at this juncture of the ball game for Temple from 24 minutes. Shields fouled by Westby on the move to the baseline. That's Westby's second. Temple team foul number 4. Rutgers will get it back with a new shot clock and an 8-point lead when we come back. 15:53 to go here in Philadelphia.
Center, two-sport athlete. This guy knows something about beating Rutgers. He kicked the game-winning field goal this year for Temple. Kat Plakumba. We didn't see her face all year long with a helmet. Now we don't see it again.
I don't like Rutgers. Nothing against Rutgers, but I love my Owls, and I'll tell you what, right now, we're going to come back. It's early. We got a lot of time left. We're going to beat them. Hey, bottom line.
Kick the game-winning field goal in football. You've played baseball. Undecided if you're going to play this year or not?
I got another year. I got some time left to decide, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
There's a guy who stays busy throughout the year.
I guess he loves his Owls getting painted up like that. There could be no other excuse for that.
Talk about the early practices for the basketball team. You got to get it pretty early, even for a 3:30 in the afternoon game, to paint yourself up for that one. Coleman, pretty move. High off the glass, and he now has 19 points. The Rutgers lead back to double digits.
And you see he can literally carry this team offensively, something he did throughout last year.
Smith feeding the post. Butler, the 7-footer. And he got caught by Oksana. Oksana thought he had all ball, but the officials thought otherwise, and he picks up his third.
Good play by Smith. Gives the ball into the post and then cuts through. That takes the defense away. Let's take a look right here. The nice move by Coleman, getting himself inside, slashing and knifing through the defense.
And Butler missing on the free throw. The Temple free throw woes continue here as Kareem Wright with 3 fouls checks back into the game. The Owls are 3 out of 10 from the free throw line. Make it 3 out of 11. A lot of opportunities lost. Crossover. There's Sherrod high above and elevating. That gives Rutgers their largest lead at 12 points. Sherrod now's got 4.
And Temple's got to get something going offensively. They've either got to create some easy shots with their defense or find somebody who they can ride for a while. Hawkins got to get himself back into the game. He's the most likely candidate to rise.
Last couple of years, as you see the contact and the foul, they would either rely upon a Lynn Greer or a Pepe Sanchez in a situation like this, and those guys aren't around anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Sanchez was their security blanket, their point guard who handled the basketball all the time, and when they needed shots and when they needed big baskets, he was the guy who stepped up to the tune of almost 2,100 points.
Kareem Wright just got hit for his 4th foul on that contact with Westby. So he has been pretty much a non-factor here, negated almost entirely by foul trouble.
Yeah, and he negated himself some silly fouls. With his size, I mean, if you're going to use those 4 fouls, make people pay for it.
Collins the miss, Lamizana the rebound.
And one thing Rutgers has done real well tonight, which they didn't do in their first 2 games, is they've been able to control and hang in on the backboards.
Coleman way outside. And with Hawkins' hand in his face, Hawkins gets the long rebound. He had a brief situation with numbers 5-on-4, but Coleman recovered.
That's the thing. They got to try and get going in transition. A couple easy baskets. Try to get themselves on a run. Get the crowd back in it. They've been very stale here offensively. And
Westby's going to get called for the offensive foul. Plowing into Adrian Hill. That's his 3rd and team foul number 5.
Well, and he's just trying to make something happen right here. Forces it a bit. Gets by the first defender, but instead of pulling up, leans in and creates the contact. Again, same thing you were talking about, Scott. You know, all of a sudden you look around and there's not Lynn Greer to bail you out, which he's done so many times, and that's going to be a growing process for this team.
Greer, the 2nd leading scorer in school history. Niall Murray comes into the game now as Westby takes his seat.
They try to pick up with a little full court pressure, anything to get them going. Right now, very sluggish.
Murray's job to stay with Coleman there, and Coleman hits on a pretty finger roll. He's got 21.
With his left, pretty finish inside, so we saw him knocking down 3s throughout the first half. Now he's putting the ball to the floor and getting to the basket.
You never know what to expect in game 1, and Temple getting shocked here right now. I don't think they ever expected to be down 16 points.
Lamizana with a great play on the defensive end. You see what a long, lean athlete he is, getting himself out in the passing lane. Nice play right there. And here's where he's at his best. In transition, a little Statue of Liberty right there as he goes and finishes high off the glass. Look at how long he is.
Speaking of Statue of Liberty, in our football game yesterday, we actually saw 2 Statue of Liberty plays from Villanova.
They had a heck of a game coming down to the last couple minutes, high scoring.
One for the ages for Brett Gordon yesterday for Villanova, as they were finding out this afternoon if they qualified for the 1AA playoffs. There is Chris Gaither coming back in. And Temple is down 17 on their home floor.
Rutgers wants to keep the pressure on him up in the full court press.
Rutgers doing a great job of being aggressive on the basketball and forcing shots just like that.
Where they've got to throw the knockout punch, something they were unable to do on the road against Carolina. Up 11 with 7.5 left to go. They let North Carolina back in it.
Coleman, a little bit short. And the fight for the rebound is going to get some contact and a foul. Now the push off against Adrian Hill down low, his 2nd. Gaither, the freshman from Kentucky, running the point now for the Owls. As you say, they do it by committee this year. And Gaither's in trouble and throws it away. But Hawkins picking it clean. Now bring on the Dancing Bears. And finally a foul call.
I have an opportunity to stop the drought. I mean, they've been so sluggish offensively. They got to get something going with their defense. See right here, Rutgers thinks they're in transition. Smart play by Murray to knock it away. But even then, it's a struggle to score.
Waters' team in control right now with just under 12 minutes to go in the game. Hawkins 1 for 2 at the free throw line. That finally breaks the drought for Temple. One more try coming for David Hawkins. And that'll lead us to a timeout. It's all been about Rutgers defense. Gary Waters' team has held Temple down to 4 points in 8 minutes of basketball to begin the second half. They've got themselves a 15-point lead. Temple offense doing anything but flying high. In fact, hovering and trying to turn it around here. Held to just 4 points in the second half. Upcoming telecast here on CNA. We told you tomorrow night at the Palestra. Drexel and Penn next Sunday. Old Dominion visits St. Joe's at 2 o'clock. Rob and I will be there for that one. Temple and Wake Forest later on. Penn visits Delaware. Then the day of days, the Big Five Classic. All 3 games from the Big Five Classic here on CN8. Penn Villanova from the First Union Center on December the 10th. Terrific early season schedule for the basketball fan here in CN8 viewing area to begin this year.
And how about some of the Big Five teams? How about St. Joe's' score yesterday on the road against BC? Blow them out. Here Temple trying to pick it up. They've got to create offense with their defense.
And a foul call on the floor. It is going to go against Rutgers. And Wigan picks up his first.
Well, they've been so stagnant with their offense. As we said, got to create something with the defense. They come out in full court pressure. It leads to a block call right there. Pretty good defensive position by Wigan.
This would have been a highly unhappy crowd here at the Liacouras Center had that call gone against Hawkins.
And it could just as easily have done that.
And it is 1-1 time now.
That could be good news or bad news for Temple the way they've been shooting it from the line, although Hawkins is 3 for 4.
You figure law of averages, the free throw shooting will pick up for John Chaney's team, and with 11:50 to go, that might help get them back into the game.
It also helps him get into the full court pressure if he can knock down this foul shot.
As a team, 7 out of 15. Hawkins has hit 5 of them. But he gets called for a silly foul off the inbound, trying to create pressure on Ricky Shields. And that'll be David Hawkins' third.
Reached over the back. He had perfect defensive position. You got an opportunity to trap him deep in the corner. Instead, you bail him out and send him to the line for 1-1.
Well, both teams in the 1-1 now. Rutgers has hit all 4 of their free throws. First opportunity of the day for Shields. And short. Hawkins.
And trying to isolate him out on the wing.
Robinson's wide open. Got to hit that shot, but the line drive 3-pointer, no good.
Maybe just a little bit outside his range, but as you said, he was wide open.
Sherrod himself in trouble and back out again.
Play by Wigan to just settle it back down and put the ball back in Sherrod's hands instead of forcing the 3.
Dribbling against the matchup zone defense is generally the death of a drive and the death of a possession. Hawkins tried to make him pay and get the momentum back to Temple, but he missed.
And that would have been a huge shot right there.
Realizing that, Gary Waters calling for a timeout. Well, that is the 30-second timeout that becomes a full timeout. You want to talk about what we have seen so far, though. This Rutgers team, it has almost all been about Jerome Coleman.
Now, three-point shooting is what he's known for, and certainly against this zone defense, he's been able to find his mark, stepping out deep. That's what's so tough. He's got such range, it's hard to come out and close out on him. The quick release, as we said, one of the top zone busters in the country. Making good on three-point shot after three-point shot here tonight.
Well, the numbers bear it out. He has been a huge part of what Rutgers has done here today on the way to this 13-point lead. Look at that.
No, he's almost single-handedly carried the team. 21 points, 8 for 16 from the floor. Knocked down all those threes in the first half. Here in the second, he's put the ball to the floor and got himself to the rim.
This would be a very good win for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights if they hang on to this lead here in the second half. Maybe not on par in terms of eye-catching with a win at North Carolina, but in terms of overall competition here right now with this Temple team, it might even be a better win.
And also a great comeback. You know, you go on the road and you lose a heartbreaker. I mean, they had that game won. They self-destructed, melted down in the last couple minutes, taking bad shots, some untimely turnovers. And how about Coleman? Talk about turnarounds. 2 for 18 against Carolina and literally shot them out of the game late. A couple off-balance wild threes, but so far tonight playing within himself and knocking down those same shots that he missed the other night against Carolina.
Barry Waters off that great job last year getting his team ready for what very likely will be a tough Big East schedule against one of the best that the Atlantic 10 has to offer here in the early season.
And Rutgers on the west side, and the West loaded once again this year. Got Pitt, the preseason pick, to finish in top of the Big East West, top 5 team in the country. But you also have Syracuse, Notre Dame, and Georgetown picked ahead of them. Rutgers picked to finish 5th in that strong Big East Western division.
Sherrod's in a lot of trouble with passes over the top of it. Now Hill lets it go.
That's not a shot he's comfortable with, and boy, he did not look comfortable on that. They beat the press, but then all of a sudden you got to make better decisions.
That shot just bought him a seat on the bench at the next whistle.
Nearly a 5-second call. Coleman Sherrod all over him. He picks up his second 5-second call by forcing the defensive pressure.
Well, the junior playing strong defense on the basketball.
The crowd was upset because they thought he was all over him. A lot of contact, no whistle from the officials until it comes with the 5-second call.
Here's the part you talked about as Gaither reaches in.
And that gets John Chaney up and gets the crowd back into it. He's saying, hey, if you're going to allow it to go on at the other end, let us get up and defend the same way.
There's a head coach right there who's frustrated by what he's seen so far. And Gaither gets his seat back on the bench. And send Sherrod to the line. First free throw of the day for the junior. And he'll have one more try. One-game starter last year was Mike Sherrod. You see the numbers on the season. The co-defensive player of the year along with Rashad Kent. 4 assists, led the team last year. And Oksana gets a big offensive rebound. Rutgers is led by as many as 17 here in the second half. As Temple has hit just 1 shot from the floor.
Since that last time out, Coleman's gotten a rest over on the bench.
Rutgers using a little clock on this possession. Shot clock down at 10. Wiggin inside, blocked from behind by Butler. There's Collins in transition. Won't fall for him.
And they're settling for threes in transition instead of really trying to attack the basket. Collins with the 3 that rattles in and out.
Well, there is plenty of time left in this game, but you wonder as a freshman right now whether or not you try to get a little bit too much too soon. Shields got it. And Rutgers matches their largest lead of the game up again by 17 points.
A nice feed by Lamanzana, got himself stuck along the baseline, swung it across into the opposite corner. You see so many times you drive baseline and send it right through to the other corner for the open 3.
And finally the drought ends as Niall Murray drains a 3. First 3-pointer of the second half for Temple. They are just 4 out of 18 from beyond the arc. Wiggin, easy look from the baseline.
An aggressive play by Wiggin, the trap. Shields got the ball into Wiggins' hands. He attacks it. Didn't worry about the fact that Butler blocked his last layup attempt. Went strong for the finish.
Hawkins, no better luck against Shields. And a reach-in foul by Sherrod, who felt Collins going by him on the crossover. Second foul on Sherrod.
Smart play right here by Shields. He feels the double team come. As soon as Hawkins comes, he puts the ball in Wiggins' hands. He attacks the glass. Murray a little late rotating over. See Gary Waters talking to Mike Sherrod about moving his feet defensively. Picked up yet another cheap foul.
Marty Collins is now 0 for 5 from the free throw line today in his Temple debut. And struggling from the floor as well. Shields beats the pressure. A lot of speed on the outside. Lost the handle, but Lamizana bears him out.
The crowd was looking for a walk. Shields going hard. Lost control of the basketball for a second, but had the presence of mind to find Lamizana.
Biggest Rutgers lead now with 18 points as Wooten fouls Collins, and he'll send the freshman back to the line.
And Collins has really struggled from the line. Here's this play as the ball comes up high. This is the travel people were looking for. Good hustle by Lamizana to run the floor. Comes up with an easy layup.
Well, Collins still trying to hit his first free throw, and finally does. That has got to be a relief for Collins, and for that matter, got to be a relief for his high school head coach, who's now on the Temple bench, Bill Ellerby.
Legend in Philadelphia high school basketball at Gratz. 2 national championships along with a ton of public league championships.
Now his player, Marty Collins, finally hits a couple of free throws, but Temple's got a long road to hoe, down 16 points.
First, I'll need the wrapping paper, the tape.
The Rutgers lead is 16 points with 7:49 to go here in the ball game at the Liacouras Center. And back over the weekend in college basketball in the CN8 viewing area, maybe the most shocking score, that first one there. St. Joe's goes up to Conti Forum, and they lay a pasting on Boston College.
No maybe about that. I mean, that was a mind-boggling score. Not just the fact that they won, but look at that, by 27 on the road. Jameer Nelson showing why he's one of the best guards in the country.
And a big win over Penn State despite a slow start. Villanova blows away Drexel. Princeton, against the number 3 team in the country, comes up short against Oklahoma. And LaSalle, a winner over Delaware. Seton Hall over USF. When you look at it, there are some that think that Penn might be the best team in the Big 5 this year.
It's going to be a very, very balanced race. You got Villanova with the talented freshman class. Obviously, Temple's going to get better as the season goes on. You got Billy Hahn doing a great job revitalizing things over at LaSalle. I mean, you look at this Big 5, boy, it is deep. You got St. Joe's going on the road, winning by 27, and one of the favorites in the Big East Division. Yeah, it's going to be a great Big 5 once again. What else is new?
I am so looking forward to that triple header on the 7th of December.
Oh, great day. It was a great day last year. 3 terrific basketball games.
Wooten picks up the foul as Collins was going to the baseline. Collins, who just hit his first 2 free throws after missing his first 5 from the line. But I'll go back for 2 more. 7:16 left to go.
See his numbers last year at Gratz, playing for Bill Ellerby. Saw Bill earlier in his first season here on the bench with John Chaney. 2 longtime friends, 2 coaching greats.
And Coleman, who got a big break, leading scorer in this game, comes back again with his team still holding a 15-point lead.
And that's something Gary Waters was able to do today, which he was not able to do against North Carolina. He said one of the problems why they turned the ball over late, Sherrod played maybe too many minutes, and even Coleman, he said down the stretch he was afraid to take him out because he was missing shots, and so those guys logged a lot of minutes the other night down at Carolina. He's gotten them rests here today.
Similar kind of feel in terms of lead for Rutgers at that ball game. 7.5 to go. They were up by 11 here. Just a little over 7 to go, and they lead it by 14. And Oksani promptly loses the ball. Murray in transition. Looking for the dish. It gets knocked away.
Well, Temple's got to finish that play.
And the ball goes back to Rutgers as Hawley Smith was the last to touch it.
Well, if you're Temple, you're struggling so much offensively. You've got yourself a 2-on-1. You got to finish the play. Murray with the turnover would have been better off just crossing it over and finishing it with his left hand. Forced the defender to guard him.
Rutgers again looking to find that control of the game as they hold the upper hand here right now. This is where you see whether the lesson was learned in North Carolina.
And the lesson was they turned the basketball over and took horrible shots. A lot of forced quick threes.
Aksani tried for the catch. They turn it over again now. Since we made that point, it's back-to-back turnovers and 2 trips down the floor. Collins finding his way inside. Back to a 12-point game.
And that's the key for Temple. They got to force turnovers and then capitalize at the other end.
Lamizana dribbling across half court. How about 3 turnovers in a row now for the Scarlet Knights? I got to think Gary Waters is thinking timeout.
Oh, yeah, in the back of his mind, hey, here we go again. We're playing too loosey-goosey, turning the basketball over. Well, one thing that happened the other night, he ran out of timeouts. The 5-minute mark, they had no more timeouts left. I think that's also in the back of his mind, that he doesn't want to get to that same situation where he can't stop the bleeding late with the timeout.
Well, still has a 12-point lead, but the momentum quietly leaking back over to Temple.
And the crowd not so quiet all of a sudden. They're trying to get back in it.
Westby, a big shot there, and he got it. 3-point jumper for Alex Westby, and it's back down to single digits as Westby hits on his first field goal of the game.
That's a quiet leadership that John Chaney's been used to from Alex Westby.
And here comes the crowd. Coleman left all alone, and Coleman to the inside stops the bleeding. He's got 23 points.
A good ball reversal by Lamizana. Nice finish again, getting around the defense. He's got good body control, making sure he avoided the contact.
Here's Westby trying to turn it on, and he does.
A nice pull up right there. He had the charging call a few plays earlier. This time stops on a dime and goes right at Exani.
11-2 run for the Owls. Coleman buries a long-range jump shot, and I'll tell you what, that shot goes but.
I tell you what, that's reminiscent of a 3 that he missed against Carolina. You talk about confidence. Holy cow.
Collins can't get that one to fall. And look who walks out of there with the rebound, Sherrod. Temple wanted a traveling violation, but instead it's going to be a push-off and a reach-in. I'll tell you what, you'd better make this shot.
Oh, yeah. You talk about unconscious right there. A quick shot, a 3 defended. He's on the ground, doesn't matter. He's in the zone tonight.
You got a chance to have your lead trimmed to 7 or 6 points if you miss on that shot. And there's all kinds of time left. But he did make it. He has been terrific here this afternoon.
Sometimes bad shots go in. And that may have been a bad shot just because of the time. And like you said, you got Temple on a run. You missed that shot. Boy, you're going to get the crowd right back into it.
Rod really pulled the string on that free throw. Oh, Temple down 12 with the basketball. 4.5 left to go.
And he barely threw iron on that.
Smith got caught in midair. And a traveling violation on Smith. I think that might have been a premature call in that Smith did not touch the ball after it came down. He was very clear about the fact that he did not touch it after he came back down to the floor.
No question about that. He goes up, leaves his feet. Good challenge by Lamizana, one of the top shot blockers last year in the Big East. Forces Smith to just let go of the basketball. But you're right, he doesn't touch it. Tell you what, though, Temple may have gotten a break right there because it stopped the break for Rutgers.
And Temple calls for a 30-second timeout as John Chaney tries to rally the troops around him for one final run at Rutgers here, down by 12.
If they're going to make a run, they got to score. I mean, they're playing some decent defense. You see the turnover situation for Temple. One of the reasons they've struggled offensively is they've turned it over.
That number right there you saw at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen is going to make 5:30 in the morning very miserable for these young men for the upcoming week.
Yeah, John Chaney teams don't turn the basketball over, but on the other side, Gary Waters teams force turnovers. Coming into this game, forcing over 23 a game, just about on that same pace. You're talking a lot about the personality of Temple defensively. Well, Rutgers, under Gary Waters, trying to establish the same type of defensive identity.
Don't forget, tomorrow night, Drexel and Penn at the Palestra. One man's opinion, the greatest college basketball arena in America. 7 o'clock tomorrow night. John Gorovich and Rob Kennedy with that one for you from the Palestra. And Smith, the steal and the quick timeout to hold the possession.
Temple once again getting up and doing a good job defensively. Now the question is, can they take advantage of it by hitting some shots here on the offensive end? And by the way, not just one man's opinion. I think you got a lot of people around this area that think the Palestra is one of the premier facilities in all of college basketball. If not, it certainly is the most unique.
Well, Temple has played their share of games there over the course of time, and now there are some great facilities around college basketball, and you can't argue with the atmosphere at Cameron, down at Duke. In the Atlantic 10, the University of Dayton Arena is one of the best in terms of crowd, in terms of sight lines and experience in basketball. But most folks in Philadelphia tell you this is a great facility. The Liacouras Center is. Always a lot of fun at Hawk Hill, but there's something very special about the Palestra.
And it's so unique because you get to Big 5 games and you've got split crowds. All those other buildings you're talking about, even like the Rack. I mean, Rutgers has themselves a great home court advantage, but it's for one team, where the Palestra, even though it's Penn's building, it belongs to the entire city of Philadelphia.
And Sherrod lost the basketball after a near steal, so it'll go back to Temple again.
Even though Rutgers has been struggling offensively here, letting Temple back into the game, they have not allowed Temple easy baskets. They've continued to guard the entire time. You know, sometimes you turn the ball over, you miss shots, you get your head down, and you don't play defense as well. That hasn't been the case for Rutgers.
Temple looking for a step-up scorer. Westby has hit out a couple of straight shots. Can't hit it there, and Sherrod got the weak side rebound.
They haven't been able to get the ball in Hawkins' hands.
Well, Rutgers will look to kill a little time now. 3:40 left to go in the game.
Temple forced to come out of their zone defense, pick up straight man.
And Hawkins gets fouled by Shields as he was coming up with a steal. I think it's fairly clear that both teams have done a very good job of getting the ball away from the opposition. Rutgers has done a better job of knowing what to do with it when they get it.
A great defense right there. Good hustle by Hawkins to not only deflect the pass on the ball reversal. See Coach Waters saying, we got to take care of the basketball.
Hawkins has 15, leading scorer for the Owls, and is now 6 for 7 from the free throw line. One more try and he can get it back to a 10-point game. And Hawkins does. So the Owls back within 10. John Chaney have any more magic left over on that sideline? 3:32 to go here in Philadelphia. Come to a game, you get a souvenir. How do you go about getting a souvenir like that? You got to be part of the hands team. First, you got to attract the attention. You got to show the good hands, the one-handed catch.
That one did come out of one of those slingshots, though. I'll tell you that much.
Those guys look like they might have come out of slingshot. Somebody has not lost faith.
Yeah, a little fired up. And there's a guy coming out of the timeout right there. You see the 6 turnovers for Sherrod and Coleman. Here's where your guards, especially your veteran guards, need to step up and take care of the basketball.
3:30 to go. Temple's trying to force turnovers if they can to see if they can get back into this when it's monumentally important for Rutgers guards to take care of it here. And that is Coleman working against the freshman Collins. There's a lot of experience there.
Nearly another turnover.
Sherrod is probably where Rutgers would like the ball. Hawkins working on him.
You got to take care of it, and you got to make good decisions. Shot clock down to under 10.
They've used plenty of time now, and here comes Sherrod. Leaning in. Little too strong. Following his shot, but Westby clears with a basketball. And Sherrod, quick hands defensively, knocks it out of bounds. He took quite a shot along there, hitting into the scorer's table, but the ball belonged to Temple. 2:51 to go.
Well, sometimes you can question Sherrod's decision-making on the offensive end, but one thing you can never question is his hustle, his speed, his determination, making things happen on the defensive end.
Hawkins, a little bit of a force.
Yep.
And Lamazon to the rebound. Oh, look at Hawkins inside, and he got tripped.
Well, there's a situation where, again, Sherrod, the junior point guard, he started for 2 years. You got to step up and be strong with the basketball. Makes a great defensive play right there, forcing a tough shot. You come up with the basketball, but you got to have the presence of where people are. That's just being careless with the basketball. You know you're under 3 minutes. Come strong to the ball and be the point guard, taking care of it the way your coach wants.
Hawkins is now 8 out of 9 from the free throw line. He's got 18 points as Antoine Robinson comes back in, replacing Glenn Elliott. This one would get the Owls back to within 8.
Here comes the press.
You don't want to put too much pressure on one guy, but the game is in the hands of Sherrod right now for Rutgers.
Yep, they're once again going to put the ball in his hands, allow him to take some time off the clock, and then make him make a play and a good decision as it starts to wind down.
He's fine with the idea, not being defended here, of using some time. Hawkins got in on him. Now trying to make a play. He lost the basketball. And the building comes to life again now as Temple can get a little closer. Hawkins. And a blocking foul down low will be called on Wiggin, putting Hawkins at the line with 2:06 left.
If you're going to put the ball in Sherrod's hands and just allow him to take time off the clock, he's then got to make good decisions coming down the stretch. Here's Hawkins using his body. No doubt that he was going to attack the glass in that situation.
And now Rutgers, with that sought-after timeout, is going to try to regroup as Hawkins will go to the line for a 2-shot foul, and he can make this a 2-possession game. Don't forget, if you're joining us late, Rutgers at one time led this ball game to Gary Waters' team by 18 points here in the second half.
Now, reminiscent of the game against North Carolina, turning the basketball over late. They haven't taken as many bad shots, but they certainly have not taken good care of the basketball.
Wonder now, in the middle of this strategy session, out in the middle of the floor on this timeout, whether Gary Waters is changing up the strategy with the basketball. They've been clearing out, letting Sherrod kill time on the clock, and then take it inside. They may start to get some more hands involved.
Yeah, definitely. You got to find shots for Coleman. It's fine to take some time off the clock, but they've gotten their own offense stagnant. They forced Mike Sherrod into the lane, but then he's got to make a play to find other people. Instead, he's trying to make the whole play himself, not what you need from your point guard. It's almost as if he's trying to prove a point that he's going to bounce back from the other night's performance against North Carolina.
I told you about that tough road for Temple and the tough schedule that they have laid out for him this year. This is just the beginning of what is going to be a very, very difficult road for this team to conquer during the course of the year.
And nothing new for Temple. Last year they had the second toughest non-conference schedule in the country behind Arizona. But this is a young team that's going to have to learn quickly, especially going on the road. Their next stretch on the road is crazy. 3 games in 4 days. Not enough time for a team to regroup. That's going to be a tough stretch for Chaney and his Owls.
Team right now, though, on a 15-5 run over the last 5:40. They have held Rutgers down, and they have crept back in. Hawkins has 19 points. Make it 20.
Nice soft touch right there. Gets the ball on the front of the rim. A little backspin to knock it down.
With this, you can have a 2-possession game.
It allows you to set up in the full court press.
The miss, but the rebound. Hawkins had it stripped away.
Great strip by Coleman.
Temple desperately on the ball, and Wigan gets fouled by Hawley Smith with 1:57 left.
Hawkins put the ball to the floor to try and power dribble up, and Coleman right there to dive on the basketball and come up with the strip.
He had a shot to be within 5 right here off this miss. Temple gets the basketball back.
Smart play by Wesby. He's double teamed underneath, puts it into Hawkins' hands, but as soon as he puts the ball to the floor, Coleman right there to come up with the steal leads the Scarlet Knights at over 3 a game.
Wigan now 3 for 3 from the free throw line, and he makes it an 8-point game again.
Gary Waters going with a much smaller lineup. Really has 4 guards on the floor to try and handle the basketball.
1 out of 2. Still an opportunity for Temple now. And it is Collins, fouled by Wigan.
Yeah, not a smart play right there. Too much contact. You stop the clock. Allow Collins to go to the foul line.
That is an unhappy head coach right there.
Well, anguish on his face right there. The last thing you want to do is stop the clock. Make him earn it.
By the way, that's not a happy head coach there either.
No.
Collins is 4 out of 9 from the free throw line. Now 5 out of 10. It's 5 in a row now for Collins after missing his first 5. And once again, Temple can get back within 6 on this free throw. 1:48 left to play. They were down by 18 here in the second half. And Westby again gets a big rebound. Collins wants a 3. Short with it. Big rebound for Smith to the putback.
I tell you what, it hasn't been pretty for Temple, but they're hanging in there. The lead's down to 5.
All the momentum now for the Owls. But are they going to have enough time as Rutgers tries to kill the clock?
Here's where the 4 guards on the floor. You've got 4 guys that can handle the basketball plus Lamanzana. 4 shot right there. Once again, bad time management.
And it was Coleman who took the shot. So wonderful throughout. And now a blocking foul is going to send Hawkins to the line. He'll have an opportunity to make this a 3-point game with 1:05 left to go. Lamanzana picks up his 4th.
Once again, Hawkins just trying to make things happen. Lamanzana clearly gets there late as he's sliding over. But here's Hawkins. We said he's the star in waiting. He knows this is when he needs to pick it up and try and carry his team. He's being aggressive every time he touches the basketball coming down the stretch.
Temple with 26 points in the last 11 minutes of play.
As we said, hasn't been pretty, but they're right there. Can get this down to a 1-possession game.
And Smith gets the rebound of this free throw. That's 3 times in a row. Hawkins blocked away by Lamanzana.
Great job there defensively off the ball. Lamanzana comes and closes down on it. We said one of the top shot blockers in the Big East last year comes up with a big one right there.
That could be the biggest play of the game. We'll have to wait and see. 44 and counting. And Rutgers calls for time with 40.4 on the game clock. And as you can see, 16 seconds on the shot clock.
As they were in trouble right there, Gary Waters was trying to get a timeout over on the side. He was upset with his team and upset with the officials as well because it took him a while to finally get it.
He never expected this to come down to this, leading by 18 in the second half, but Temple is chipped away. It's a very, very big last 40 seconds for this Rutgers team at a variety of levels, not just for the win, but also if you were to lose back-to-back games on the road with those kinds of double-digit leads, that could really affect you for a while.
Yeah, confidence-wise, you got to step up and make a play. Talk about making a play. Here's a huge one defensively. Hawkins once again trying to make things happen. And here comes Lamanzana. So quick, so long, able to come on over and challenge off the basketball. That's where he gets so many of his block shots. Huge play right there.
40.4 left to go. Rutgers can stop it once. Temple can stop it twice. Possession arrow belongs to the Scarlet Knights. 15 left to shoot here for Rutgers. Lamazon is playing with the headband over his eyes.
Blindfolded there for a second.
Here's Coleman in trouble. Sherrod finds the open man. Shields, big shot. Had a chance to hit a dagger and didn't, but Wiggin gets a big rebound.
Great hustle by Wiggin. One of the guards. Temple cannot allow that to happen. You got to rebound the basketball.
Oh, Shields missed the dagger shot, but Wiggin came up with a gigantic rebound.
Well, long miss from 3. This is a good shot right here. Wide open from 3 as the clock runs down. But somehow, Temple unable to come up with the defensive rebound.
And Coleman knocks down the free throw. No matter what he does here, it'll still be a 2-possession game with just under 16 seconds left. 27 points for Jerome Coleman to lead all scorers here this afternoon.
And with 15.9, Temple's got to be thinking 3. If he hits this, it's a 6-point game. Got to knock down a 3.
Remember, Rutgers can stop it once, Temple can stop it twice. And Coleman hits on the free throw.
Rutgers picks up in the pressure, trying to force some time off the clock.
Collins, hand in his face, can't get rid of the 3. And Hawkins nearly lost the ball. Here's Hawley Smith for 3. Air ball. This game's going to belong to Rutgers. They hang on the road, and they beat Temple. Gary Waters' team improves to 2-1. They knock off John Chaney's squad in the Temple season opener by a 59-53 final.
And they escape with the win. Gary Waters said before the game, he said, you know what, we're going to be different on the road this year. They were able to hang in there and survive with a very good win on the road here at Temple.
59-53 the final. Rutgers wins here at Temple this afternoon, hanging on down the stretch in a game that got awfully tight. But the Scarlet Knights do walk out of here with the victory over the Temple Owls today. We'll take a break and come back with more. Rutgers the victor here this afternoon. 59-53 the final. Back in a moment.
This is CN8, powered by Comcast. Expect more. For those concerned.
59-53, Rutgers hangs on and beats Temple here this afternoon. Take it down courtside now to Mick Moningoff, who's standing by with the winners. Mick.
All right, thanks very much. And Coach Waters, you were saying, just as Scott was saying, Rutgers hangs on, and you felt maybe you didn't handle the ball well enough in that final 3 minutes?
Oh, we didn't. It was terrible. I mean, you turn the ball over 10 times like that, and yeah, they pressured and they pressed, but that's the composure you need to do in those last minutes to win ball games. We lost a game 3 nights ago because we didn't handle the pressure down the stretch.
Yes, but still in all, you come back from that game and you win again on the road. So it's nice to get the road victory after a loss that could have upset the apple cart a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And when we came here to get our first road victory, and I thought our kids played well again. I'm gonna say it happened again for 35 minutes where we dominated a game. We dominated the one 3 nights ago. But you can do all that, but if you don't execute in the last minutes of a game, that's when the game is over.
Well, there's a lot of strategy that goes on in the last few minutes, and what is it like to coach against a guy like John Chaney as the wheels are spinning back and forth, I'm sure, on both sidelines?
Well, that's the reason why they came back, because you got a person like John Chaney on that other side.
It's all about making plays down a stretch, and Harvey Lamazana may have made one of the biggest plays of the game with a block shot late.
Well, that's his strength. He blocks shots, and if we do that, then good things happen for us.
Also, you rebounded the basketball fairly well today.
Yeah, that was one of our keys on defense. We knew that they were strong inside and they would rebound the ball. We just had to fight and rebound. I thought we did a good job.
Finally puts the positive spin on it. Now he can kind of get the troops going back in the right direction after that loss the other night to come back and win here at Temple.
Exactly, and I think our kids played hard enough to win, so I'm glad we came out with the win.
Surprised, though? Three-point shooting was falling early. It looked like your transition offense was doing well. The other night, the shots weren't dropping. Tonight, they were.
They were, and I think it was a little jitters down there at North Carolina. I really think that Jerome don't go 2 for 18 the way he does. When he's shooting, we're a great team, and one of the things that he has to do is just relax himself. And when he relaxes, he can shoot with anyone.
Gary Waters, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you mentioned Jerome Coleman. Here he is now, and Jerome, 28 today. It was a tough night shooting the other night, but tonight things were falling.
Yeah, like Coach said, man, the first couple games of the season, I was just kind of hyperactive, playing with aggressive on defense, but then on offense, I was playing with the same energy. And it's hard to make baskets when you're playing at a high energy. So they just told me to calm down, use two different. Use your mind on offense and use your energy on defense, and that's what I did tonight.
How tough is it to find that rhythm, especially in transition and then step back behind a three-point arc and let it go?
I mean, it's not that hard to find the rhythm. You just got to relax yourself. That's the whole thing with shooting the ball. When you relax yourself, things go your way. When your muscles is tense and tight and you moving kind of quick and active, then that's when you tend to shoot it long or short.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights you had here today. Stepping outside and then put it on the floor here.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was an and one, but I'll take the bat because we got the victory.
And sometimes you just have to take the game over yourself, look for your shot, and light it up.
I wouldn't say take it over myself because I got a good supporting cast. Not even say supporting cast. I got a good team. So I don't necessarily got to be the one to take it over myself all the time. Some days Ricky be hot, like North Carolina. Ricky was hot. Hervey was hot. So it's not always what I do. So it's just our team. Whoever's hot that day, we ride them.
But yet, when a shot doesn't fall early, is it tough to collect yourself, or you just put that behind you and say, well, I'll just get the next one?
Well, that's what I start to do now. After that North Carolina game, it actually woke me up because I've never shot that bad in my entire life since I picked up a basketball. And it just made me come back to reality to say I got to stay in the gym and do the things I can do because 2 for 18 is not acceptable for this team. And I know they depend on me to do certain things, and that's what I'm here for.
Congratulations on the big afternoon and the victory.
Thank you.
That's Jerome Coleman. Let's go back to Scott Graham.
All right, well, Mick, here today you see Rutgers hang on, get themselves a victory, and they do it despite their head coach saying they didn't take care of the ball all that well down this stretch. If you're pointing to Temple, you realize the one thing that's going to bother them more than anything else about this game is the fact they just flat didn't shoot the basketball.
18 turnovers, didn't make shots. They couldn't get into any time of rhythm offensively. They tried to make a run a couple times and did it defensively. They just couldn't score.
Temple shot 36% for the game. A lot of that had to do with the Rutgers defense, and only 29% in the second half. And Rutgers doing a good job on the glass throughout the entire of the game. We said this is a big Temple team. Rutgers out-rebounding them. Did a good job of distributing the basketball, too.
And that was the key stat for Rutgers. Coming in, that was a big problem for him, being out-rebounded by 7 a game. He was very worried, Gary Waters, coming into this game about the size of Temple, yet they held their own on the backboards. That's one of the reasons why they get the road win.
How much of what we have seen so far do you think John Chaney was expecting here today in terms of being able to put 3 freshmen out on the floor and getting what he ended up getting out of them?
Well, what you're going to have with freshmen is up and down, and that's what he got throughout the game. Some good performances. Robinson early on, they did a good job defensively, but they shot themselves in the foot offensively and couldn't find the one player to ride offensively.
Well, from here at the Liacouras Center, we move on, not too far away here in Philadelphia, to the Palestra. Tomorrow night, CN8 will be there. Drexel and Penn. Tip-off time at 7 o'clock. Hope you can join us for that one. Today's game produced by Tony Smith, directed by John Anderson. Now for Mick Monninghoff, Rob Kennedy, our entire CN8 crew, this is Scott Graham. We thank you for watching. Rutgers a big win on the road, 59-53.